Good afternoon, Kershaw County School District families and students. My name is Shane Robbins, superintendent here at Kershaw County, and I want to spend a few minutes this afternoon talking about the reopening response plan that we presented to the school board last night at their meeting. The plan was approved and we'll put things into action here right away, but we wanted to get this information out to you as quickly as possible so that we're prepared to answer the many questions I'm sure that you may have. The entire plan is about a 20-page document, and it highlights the areas of health and safety, related arts, special education, transportation, curriculum and instruction, technology, extra and co-curricular activities, and it can be found at the following URL on our webpage. One of the most important things you probably want to know right out of the gates is the school calendar. We did ask for approval to modify the start date of the 2020-21 school year. Originally, the start date was August 17th. That first student day will now be September 8th. And really, just to give you a little idea of the reason we did that, we're going to have to mobilize a lot of resources, get plans into place, and in order to do it as effectively, efficiently as possible, we need time to prepare and make sure all those things are in place. And we felt like if we opened school at the regular start time, it would be rushed and we wouldn't be able to do a thorough job like we need to for your child. So we are starting after Labor Day, and the first student day will be September 8th. I would note here, though, that the state has asked or requested and required us to perform student assessment data testing, and that will take place before September 8th, so we can get all that testing done, and when we start on September 8th, we can get right to work. One of the things that's important, if you haven't already made the decision, that maybe will help inform you a little better as you determine whether a virtual option or a face-to-face option is most appropriate for you, and that is the difference between our e-campus and e-learning. First of all, thank you to our community for being supportive when we went into a state of closure and we initiated our e-learning protocols. It's important to understand that e-learning was never designed to be a full virtual environment. It was only designed for a 3 to 5 day window to ensure that we can maintain a continuity of instruction and not have to make up those days that we were closed. It wasn't designed for that length of closure that we had, and we know it was a struggle for many of you. So because of that, we went to work in May once school ended and started creating our own virtual school, which we're calling the KCSD e-campus. It is designed to operate in both a face-to-face and virtual environment. And so I think you'll notice a tremendous amount of difference. You'll see the teacher. There'll be opportunities to watch the e-campus course either in live stream, or if your family situation doesn't allow you to do that, you can also watch it in a tape-recorded environment. And again, that's detailed a little bit more in our plan that can be found on the website. The idea of what we would look like when we start the 2020-21 school year, we knew that when we performed the thought exchange survey that some of the main factors that came up were parents' concern for safety and for choice. And because of that, we've identified 3 specific choices that you can choose from for your child. The first choice is real simple. It's our traditional face-to-face instructional environment in a brick and mortar building. Now, the one thing I think it's important for you to know, and you'll see this later on in my presentation, we are putting safeguards in place to allow for a little bit different environment, and so that we can follow protocols that would allow us to mitigate risk for your child attending a traditional environment if you choose to do so. The second one is our virtual e-campus, synchronous or live option. During this option, your student will watch the class live. There will be an opportunity for them to participate or ask their teacher questions during the course. And it is going to be performed through our 2 main platforms that we use here at Kershaw County, and that's our Adobe Connect platform and our Google Meets feature. Then the third option will be a virtual e-campus asynchronous or recorded situation. And again, some family situations may not afford for the child to be able to watch the course live. We understand that. So lessons can be accessed on the student's Google Classroom account. They still will have the option to ask the teacher questions. It would just be in a tape delayed environment. What are we doing for our facilities? I think it's important to know that we will have some pretty stringent and different protocols so that we can mitigate risk and the transmission of any type of virus or infectious disease in our buildings. All doors will be secured. Students and staff and visitors will be temperature checked when they enter the buildings. This includes on our buses as well. Each building will have an isolation room identified so that if somebody has a elevated temperature, which could mean some type of illness has taken place, we'll move them into that isolation room so that our school nurse can further evaluate them. This will be separate from the regular nurse's office. Those are a little bit smaller atmospheres and just for your, some of your daily illnesses. So we'll have those available in each one of our buildings. And then the buildings will be sanitized daily. We will do what we call thorough cleaning daily in all of our facilities. So what solutions are we using? We're using a solution called Fever to do some of the mitigating strategies. And Fever is a device that will allow us to take mass quantity temperature checks when people enter our facilities. If somebody has a heightened temperature, then it will be noted through an infrared picture on a screen for us, and we can isolate those individuals into the isolation room, do an evaluation to see if there is an elevated temperature, and make some decisions on whether we need to phone home and send the child home and keep them in the isolation room. If it's a visitor, we won't allow them in the building. And if you look on this slide and you go to, again, our comprehensive plan, there is a website that will allow you to look up this device and it'll tell you specifically how it works. In terms of sanitizing, we've been working with a company called Covalent Clean, and they offer solution that is 99.5% effective of killing all viruses and bacteria. It's an eco-safe solution that we can use. We can order this in mass quantity. It will be in every single one of our buildings. And what we will do is we'll have 55-gallon drums that will be utilized to put into sprayers, which will spray our classrooms, our hallways, and playground equipment every single day. And it will be put into hand pumps for students to have in their classrooms so they can sanitize their hands daily. And again, this is another risk mitigating factor to ensure that we're maintaining as clean of an environment as possible. When it comes to transportation, we have 72 passenger buses, and the guidelines from the state have been that we only have up to 50% capacity on those buses. The only way we can exceed 50% is if there are siblings, and the siblings can sit together. The thing that I would share with you is if you do intend on using bus transportation, the front 4 seats will be identified as isolation seats. We will temperature check the children as they get on the bus. If they do have an elevated temperature and there's not a parent or guardian at home, we will allow them to stay on the bus and put them in the isolation seats. Then when they get to the schools, we'll move them into the isolation room for further evaluation. There will be hand sanitizer on every one of the buses, and we will sanitize the buses both pre and post route to make sure they are clean. We'll have an extra adult on the buses that are doing the temp checks so that the driver can focus on driving. And then the other piece that I would share with you is our drivers will all be wearing face masks. Again, this is just a real quick snapshot of our response plan. There are many other areas that we addressed using a 50-person task force, and you can read that plan online. We will have a fax page available for you, so you can ask us questions and we'll respond as quickly as we can. Our goal is for you to make the most informed and best decision for you and your family. We'll be prepared to modify this plan if things change. Again, it was designed to be adaptable, flexible, and again, our biggest thing is to mitigate and reduce risk at the same time providing your child with the best education possible. We feel like we're very poised to do that in Kershaw County, very proud of the work that's taken place with our staff and with our teachers in preparation for a new school year, and we look forward to serving your children. Thank you again, and thanks for taking the time to watch this.